During the cold winter months, all I want to do is cuddle up in bed, wear thick chunky sweaters, and eat hot soups. They make me feel cozy and just warms my soul. So today I'm sharing these simple soup recipes that will not only keep you full, they'll also warm you up with minimal ingredients and time in the kitchen. Cooking really isn't that hard. It just takes a little creativity to keep everyone happy. This is Cece, Rolly, Nate's behind the camera, and I'm Zhang. We live in LA and I love sharing my approachable family meal ideas with you. We're all busy people, so if I can whip it up for my piggy family quickly, so can you. Whatever you make though, just be sure to mix, mix, mix. So the first recipe that we'll make is a lentil soup that's loved by adults and kids alike. It's loaded with plant-based protein, has tons of fresh vegetables and fiber that'll keep you full. So first in my heavy bottom pot, I'm gonna add a drizzle of olive oil and let it heat up. Then I'm gonna add our mirepoix, or the base for any hearty vegetable soups. I've chopped up some onions, about a cup, 2 cloves of minced garlic, 2 stalks of celery chopped, 1 carrot also chopped, and now I'll saute everything until it's nice and soft. Alright, now let's add our spices. I have 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of cumin, half a teaspoon of turmeric, and half a teaspoon of dried thyme. I'll saute it for another minute and let the spices really open up. Then 1 cup of crushed tomatoes, half a cup of lentils. I'm using sprouted green lentils here, but you can certainly use red lentils, black lentils. If you want your lentils to cook a little bit faster, feel free to soak it in warm water for about an hour before you cook it. Then it'll cook super fast. A teaspoon of kosher salt, and 4 cups of chicken stock. If you want to use vegetarian broth, you can totally do that as well. But now I'm just gonna give it a stir. And then we're gonna bring it to a boil. All right, this looks good. So now I'm just gonna cover it up, turn the heat down to low, and let it simmer for another 20 minutes. All right, it's been 20 minutes and I think it should be ready. The lentils look nice and cooked. The water's absorbed down a little bit. What I like to do as a final step and to brighten everything up is to squeeze juice from half a lemon. This just enhances the flavor of the soup and you don't have to add extra sodium to get more flavor. All right, let's serve. The lentils and the vegetables are nice and soft, and what I love about this soup is that the longer you keep it, let's say the next day, it'll taste even more concentrated and better in my opinion. The second thing I love about the soup is that Agoura loves it. I can sneak in a bunch of vegetables, and because it's cooked down so soft and flavorful, she'll eat the entire bowl without a fight. Black bean soup is one of my favorite soups to make when I'm in a pinch. On days when I want something soupy but don't have a lot of time to cook, this is the perfect solution. There aren't too many complicated ingredients, but the flavors marry beautifully. It has smoky notes from the spices, it's hearty, and you can customize the texture to however you prefer. So to make this soup, it's super simple. I'm just putting all the ingredients together, and I'm really only using a few ingredients here. So in my pot on medium heat, I'll add a drizzle of olive oil, let it get hot, and then I'm gonna add half a medium onion that I've chopped, 3 cloves of garlic that I've also finely chopped. Let it saute for a couple of minutes until the onions are nice and translucent. Now I'm gonna add 1 cup of fire roasted tomatoes, a teaspoon of kosher salt, 2 teaspoons of chili powder, 2 teaspoons of cumin, and then my 2 cans of black beans along with its liquid. So whenever I'm buying black beans, I like to buy black beans that's only preserved with water and sea salt. That way I can add the liquid into my soup and feel good knowing there's no preservatives in there. I'm just gonna give it a quick stir before adding in my broth. I'll fill my pot up with 4 cups of chicken broth, or if you wanna go vegan on this, you can totally use vegetable broth. And finally, I'm just gonna add 1 bay leaf to really heighten the flavor. All right, I'm gonna give it a final stir, and then we'll bring it up to a boil. I'll turn down the heat, let it simmer for about 20 minutes before I give it a blend. And right before blending the soup, it's really important to fish out the bay leaf because you don't wanna blend this in. It's bitter, it just doesn't taste good. So to blend this soup up, I'm gonna be using an immersion blender. It's really convenient to make blended soups directly into the pot, but If you don't have an immersion blender, you can totally use a regular blender, but just make sure you cool the soup down completely because it'll cause an explosion in the hot blender. I'll just give it a few blitzes to maintain a chunkier texture, but if you like it completely smooth, just feel free to blend it until it's nice and pureed. Now that I've blended the soup, the starch has released and it'll actually thicken as you let it sit longer. So for me, this is a really good texture, but if you want it a little bit thicker, just go ahead and simmer it again for about 5 to 10 minutes to really thicken it up. Now it's time to serve our black bean soup. So this soup is delicious as is, but the real magic comes from all the garnishes. Here I have some sliced radishes, some limes that I've already cut up, an avocado that I've cubed, some chopped cilantro, and some yogurt. If you want to go completely non-dairy or vegan, you can always substitute with coconut milk. All right, so what I like to do is just put a little design in my soup, just a drizzle like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now I'll just add a few slices of radishes. This really adds a nice crunchy texture to our soup. Some avocado cubes, a sprinkle of cilantro of course, and then a squeeze of lime. The radish really adds a crunch and interest. Like I said earlier, it's smoky, it's hearty, and just so full of flavor, especially from the lime and the cilantro. If you want to have a spicy kick to the soup, feel free to add sliced jalapenos on top of the soup as a garnish too. That'd be really good. A bowl of ramen is universally loved. At least I know I love it. I grew up on the packaged variety, which isn't so great for you, but what's great about this ramen noodle soup is that I infused Thai flavors and fresh ingredients. And best of all, it comes together in about 30 minutes. So I'm gonna share my recipe for this Thai curry ramen noodle soup. So the cooking process is super simple. I'm gonna start off by cooking off our chicken. To the pot, I'm gonna add a drizzle of olive oil, let it get hot, and then I'm gonna add my chicken. Here I have one chicken breast that I've already thinly sliced. I'll season it with some salt and pepper, and then we're gonna cook it up for about 5 minutes until it's fully cooked through. I'll remove the chicken from the pot, and now we get on to the spices. I'll add another drizzle of olive oil, let it get hot, and then I'm gonna add in a stalk of lemongrass that I've already smashed. So smashing the lemongrass helps it to release the oils and really infuse our broth with so much flavor. Then I'll add 1 cup of sliced mushrooms. I'm using cremini mushrooms here. Half of a bell pepper that I've thinly sliced, some minced garlic, and then we'll continue sauteing it for a few minutes. Once it's nice and fragrant, I'm gonna add in my red curry paste. So you can find this Thai red curry paste at any grocery store nowadays in the Asian aisle. I really like it because it's super convenient. Then we'll add 1 cup of coconut milk, 4 cups of chicken broth, 1 tablespoon of fish sauce, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, and 2 kaffir lime leaves. These are kaffir lime leaves. They're actually ones that I picked from my parents' house before we moved, and I've kept them in the freezer. They smell so good still. If you can't find kaffir lime leaves, they also sell them dried, but you can also substitute for fresh lime leaves. I'm gonna give it a final mix. And now we're gonna bring the broth to a boil, then let it simmer for about 15 minutes before we add our noodles in. Okay, our broth is done, so now I'm gonna add in some fresh noodles. I got these fresh noodles at the market. This is actually from Sun Noodles, and if you guys are from Hawaii or have been to Hawaii, these are super popular. They're used in all the Simon dishes there. So now I'm just gonna take 1 whole packet and then we're gonna add it directly into the soup and then bring it back to a boil for like 3 minutes. So since the noodles are fresh, they cook really fast, but if you wanna substitute for dried ramen noodles, you can certainly do that in the same pot. Just cook it for a little bit longer according to the package's direction. All right, so now we're gonna serve it. I'm just gonna add the noodles into the bowl first with the chicken that we cooked earlier. Gonna add it right on top. And then I also sauteed some spinach. I always like to add some greens to my ramen, either bok choy, kale, whatever I have available. And then a squeeze of lime before I add the soup. What I like to do is just squeeze it in and throw the whole rind into the bowl. And then we ladle in our broth. This is a hearty, flavorful bowl of ramen that came together in less than 30 minutes. Finally, we'll garnish it with some cilantro. You can leave this out if you're not a cilantro fan, but I definitely love it, so in it goes. Now let's give it a try. perfect bite. The richness from the coconut milk and all the spices from our curry paste, Thai curry paste, just really complement each other. It's so hearty and rich. And my favorite part is the whole lime that's in there. It just makes it so tart. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Let me know which one your favorite soup is in the comments section below and what kind of videos you guys want to see for 2020. I hope this is simple enough for you to tackle. If you want to recreate your own version, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Honeysuckle. Give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. Thanks for watching and Happy New Year. Bye!